The power suddenly went out at the party. Someone took advantage of the darkness, pinning me against the wall before showering me with countless, fiery kisses. As things began to escalate, I found myself responding. Just then, the lights flickered back on, and the first thing I saw was Willow Reed's crimson face. Everyone turned to look at us, their faces breaking into knowing smiles as they teased that we were joined at the hip, completely inseparable. Later, when my father asked me to choose my wife, I chose Willow without a moment's hesitation. After we were married, she was everything I'd hoped for, taking meticulous care of me. But it wasn't until the day Willow died that I learned she had never forgotten my adopted brother. Not only had she changed the beneficiary of her massive inheritance to him, but she had even built a secret room filled to the brim with plaster molds of a man's body. The thought of what Willow had been doing in here made me sick to my stomach. When I found the love letters she had written to my adopted brother over the years, along with records of large, uninterrupted monthly money transfers, my world went dark. When I opened my eyes again, I was looking at my father's much younger face. "Ethan, have you decided who you're going to choose?" His familiar voice resonated from above me. I looked up, stunned. "All 4 girls are grown up now, and it's time for you to get married. Just tell your old dad who you've picked." I stared at my reflection in the mirror and realized I had been reborn. I was back on the very day I was supposed to announce my future wife. The Carter family was the most powerful in Beverly Hills, and I was their only son and heir. To ensure I'd have a capable partner, my family had arranged for 4 potential brides from 4 other prominent families to be raised alongside me since childhood. These 4 girls had grown up by my side, serving as my protectors. Beyond their formidable combat skills, their intelligence and beauty were second to none. Among them, Willow Reed was the one I had always favored. She was cool and distant, with striking features, a perfect figure, and a fondness for wearing kipeos. Simply by standing still, she was the most stunning woman in any room. On my 18th birthday, when she played the piano for me in a black cheapao, I lost my heart to her. From then on, I insisted she be my personal guard wherever I went. But today, when my father asked if I had chosen my future wife, I remained silent. "What's this? You've always chosen Willow without a second thought. Why the long pause today?" my father asked, his voice full of affection. "Go with her. The Reeds may not be the most powerful of the 4 families, but as long as she's willing to protect you and give me a grandchild soon, I'll approve the marriage." "A grandchild?" I gave a bitter, silent laugh. In my last life, Willow wouldn't even let me touch her. Not only that, her heart had always belonged to Sean. "No, I have someone else in mind." My father was shocked. "Someone else? You don't love Willow anymore?" "I don't, and I never will again." The members of the 4 families were already gathered, waiting in the main hall. The moment I appeared in the bustling room, Willow pulled me aside. "I know you're going to choose me today, Ethan, but my heart already belongs to someone else. I hope you'll reconsider." I'd heard those exact words in my past life. Back then, I was too arrogant, convinced I could eventually win her over, so I stubbornly pushed forward. But not this time. "Willow, who I choose is none of your business. If you truly don't want to marry me, then you can take your parents and leave right now, and never show your face to me again." My harsh tone left Willow stunned. As far as she could remember, it was the first time I had ever spoken to her like that. I had always either indulged her every whim or flirted playfully. "What's the matter? Cat got your tongue? Then I'm going in." "Willow, I hope my choice this time makes you happy." Seeing her silence, I walked into the living room without a backward glance. This would be the last time I discussed my marriage in front of the 4 families. Everyone held their breath, their eyes fixed on me. Willow, sitting across from me, spoke with a dark expression. "Ethan, please consider what I just told you. Think carefully before you decide." Seeing the urgency in her eyes, my heart ached as if pierced by a thorn. It was clear she truly didn't want to marry me, even if it meant the Reed family would lose the powerful backing of the Carters. Seeing this, Sienna Miller grew impatient and scoffed. "Willow, you knew he was going to pick you. What's all this private talk about?" Olivia Jones pouted her red lips. "Exactly. The rest of us gave up hope ages ago, right, Chloe?" I glanced over at Chloe Davis. Of the 4, she was the one I clashed with the most. She was the first person to ever bully me as a child. She used to tear my books and put snakes in my backpack. I disliked her more than anyone and always begged my father to remove her from the list of candidates. Yet, every single time I was in trouble, she was always the first one on the scene. Despite her sharp tongue and cunning nature, she was the most capable of the 4 women. In my past life, she became the richest person in the world in less than a decade. Since fate has given me a second chance, I'm going to choose the best. Before I could finish, a low snarl erupted from the courtyard. What do you think you're doing? Are you blind? Do you have any idea how expensive this suit is? Through the floor-to-ceiling glass doors, everyone saw Sean cowering as he apologized to a man. I'm sorry, it was an accident. I didn't see you. Didn't see? Are you blind? Who the hell are you anyway? Dressed so shabbily and you dare show up at Mr. Carter's birthday party? You must have a death wish. He raised his hand to strike Sean, but before he could, Willow shot up from the sofa and bolted outside like a flash of lightning. Sienna and Olivia knew they didn't stand a chance, so they pulled Chloe along to watch the drama unfold. Before she left, Chloe glanced back at me, her beautiful eyes filled with an unreadable emotion that made my heart skip a beat. The slap never landed. The man, a young heir from another family, saw Willow and the others and immediately lowered his hand. Miss Reed, who gave you permission to touch him? Do you have any idea who he is? He is also a Mr. Carter, the second son of the Carter family, Ethan's brother. Are you blind? Seeing how furious Willow was, the man muttered an apology and quickly fled. Shielded behind Willow, Sean glanced back at me inside the house. I'm sorry, did I interrupt? It was an accident. It was dark. I didn't see, he stammered, growing more flustered. Willow squeezed his hand, her voice full of sympathy. Sean, it's okay. It's not your fault. You have to remember you're a Carter too. Don't let anyone push you around like that again. I scoffed at her words. Carter? The Carter family had only one son. Sean was just an orphan my father adopted when I was a child so I wouldn't be lonely. I had given him everything a brother could ask for over the years. Now I didn't want Willow anymore. He could have her. Outside, the garden lights flickered, casting shifting shadows. I pulled my gaze away from the two of them, a dull ache spreading through my chest. My father glanced at the expressions around the room and cleared his throat. Ahem, Ethan, it's time to choose. All right, I choose Chloe Davis. The moment the words left my mouth, all the parents in the room froze. Willow's parents looked horrified, while Chloe's were overcome with joy. Even my father frowned. Chloe? I thought you couldn't stand her. You always said she bullied you. No, after we're married, she won't bully me. That's right. Yes, she won't. Her parents chimed in, nodding eagerly. We'll make sure Chloe treats you well. I lowered my head and said quietly, I don't want to discuss the details right now. Please don't tell the four girls yet. The wedding is next month. All that matters is that the bride shows up on time. Everyone nodded. No one dared to argue with me. After finalizing the arrangements, the families began to depart. I had just stepped into the courtyard when Sean rushed over to explain. I'm sorry, Ethan. It's my fault. I shouldn't have caused a scene. I should have just stayed inside, but it was so lively out here. I said nothing, which only made Sean more frantic. To an outsider, it would have looked like I was tormenting him. Ethan, Sean didn't mean it. If you're angry, take it out on me, Willow said, stepping in front of him. Her tone was sharp. I know our marriage is inevitable. If you promise to be kinder to Sean, I will marry you. Sean's face was pale, and he trembled beside her. I chuckled. I had no idea what I'd done to make Willow think I was the one bullying him. Noticing his worn-out suit, I couldn't help but ask, didn't the family give you money for clothes? Showing up dressed like that, anyone would think the Carters were mistreating you. No, it's not that. I just didn't want to spend the money. It's not Ethan's fault. The words had barely left his mouth when a man charged directly at me. Ethan Carter, go to hell. I'll kill every last one of you Carters. I recognized him instantly. It was Leo Vance, the CEO of Vance Industries and a frenemy of the Carter family. After we drove his company into bankruptcy, he'd had a mental breakdown and was never the same. The sharp blade sliced into my arm, sending a searing pain through me. The scene erupted into chaos. Someone yelled, "Protect Mr. Carter." As I stood there, frozen, Vance's eyes locked onto me again. He raised the knife to strike, and I squeezed my eyes shut, screaming, "Willow, have you forgotten you're my bodyguard?" The bloodied knife came down again, but another woman yanked me into her embrace. I looked up and saw a delicate, determined chin. Are you all right? Don't you know how to dodge? The next second, she released me and turned to grapple with Vance. It was only then that I saw it was Chloe. She always talked about how she wished I'd just die so she could be free, but whenever I was in real danger, she was always the first one to rush to my aid. Her fighting skills were on par with Willow's, and she subdued Vance in a matter of moments. But Vance had a knife, and Chloe didn't escape unscathed. I saw the gash on her arm and started towards her, but she just got to her feet and gave me a wry smile. I'm fine, as long as you're not dead, she said, before walking away without another glance. But in that moment, my heart had already begun to lean towards her. The next morning, I had the staff gather everything related to Willow and throw it all out. Her old clothes, the bags she used, even the birthday presents she'd given me, everything went into the trash. A maid asked, confused, "Sir, these are your most treasured possessions. You don't want them anymore? Get rid of them." I was about to change and go find Chloe when a maid cried out, "Mr. Ethan, Sean is kneeling at the front door." I frowned, my expression immediately darkening. "Ethan, last night was my fault. Please don't be angry and please don't blame Willow, okay? I'll apologize for her." He knelt ramrod straight by the door, and his cowardly demeanor only made me scowl deeper. "Sean, are you done with the act? It's getting old," I said, stepping around him to leave. But Sean grabbed my ankle. "No, Ethan, I won't leave until you forgive Willow. What do you want from me?" I glared at him. "Don't you forget, everything you have, I gave to you. Without me, you're nothing, let alone the second son of the Carter family." Sean suddenly let out a cold laugh. "You think I care about being the so-called second son? Everyone here just treats me like your servant. I came today to beg you not to marry Willow. She loves me. She only wants to marry me. After all the years I've spent in your shadow, granting me this one request shouldn't be too hard, right?" Finally, his true colors were showing. I raised an eyebrow. "You're the adopted son. You're in no position to demand anything from me. If you want to stay in this family, you'll learn your place. Otherwise, you can forget about marrying a girl from any of the 4 families." A cold glint flashed in his eyes as he squeezed my ankle tighter. "Since you're going to be like that, then don't blame me for what happens next. Let go." I shoved, and just as I was about to kick him off, Sean's body went limp and tumbled directly down the stairs. "Ah, Ethan, no, it hurts so much." I watched him tumble down the stairs, and before I could even process what happened, Willow burst through the door. "Sean, are you okay?" she cried, cradling him in her arms. She shot a venomous glare up at me on the landing. "Ethan, have you had enough? If you ever dare to touch Sean again, I swear I will never, ever marry you." I started to explain, my face grim. "I didn't, and he still denies it. You're unbelievable. I saw you kick him down the stairs with my own eyes, and you're still lying. Don't blame him, Willow." "I'm not hurt," Sean whimpered, huddled in her arms and wincing in pain. Willow checked him over. "It's broken. Don't worry, I'm taking you to the hospital." As she left, she noticed the maid carrying bags downstairs, bags filled with her old things. She scoffed. "Not even married yet, and you're already moving my things into the master suite? Ethan, it's not a done deal that I'm marrying you." I blinked, my eyes stinging. Counting down the days to the wedding, I couldn't wait to see the look on Willow's face when she found out she wasn't the one I was marrying. Willow stayed with Sean at the hospital for 3 days, and I didn't see her once. On the 4th day, as I was discussing wedding plans with my father, she stormed in. "Ethan, Mr. Carter, I have something to say." I didn't even look up. "We're in the middle of dinner. Whatever it is, it can wait." "No, I can't wait," Willow said, her face a cold mask. "Ethan, I don't love you. I will not be marrying you at the wedding in 4 days." Hearing this, my father paused. "Willow, you don't understand. Ethan has." I cut my father off, raising an eyebrow at Willow. "I don't care whether you love me or not. All you have to do is show up on time for the wedding in 4 days." Willow straightened her back. "I won't be there. I told you I will not marry you." "Fine," I sneered. "Since you love him so much, I'll arrange a wedding for him too. In 1 week, he'll get married on the same day as me, and you'll have to stand there and watch him marry another woman." "Ethan," Willow panicked, her face paling. "Why would you do that? Why do you have to be so cruel? Does being a Carter mean you can just do whatever you want?" "You don't have to listen," I said, biting my lip and staring her down. "You can run away with him, live whatever life you want, but who knows how long the Reed family business will survive in this city after that." Faced with my ultimatum, a sharp glint of hatred flashed in her eyes. If looks could kill, I would have died 1,000 times over. "Fine," she said, nodding through clenched teeth. "I'll marry you." After Willow left, my father asked, confused, "Ethan, what was all that about? I thought you were marrying Chloe. Why are you still forcing Willow's hand? She owes me." Thinking of my past life, the pain in my heart was unbearable. She ruined my entire life. Making her miserable for a week was nothing. After a long while, my anger finally subsided. "Dad, let's just give them what they want. In 1 week, Sean and I will have a double wedding. I'll marry Chloe, and he'll marry Willow. Since she loves him so much, I'll make it happen for her." As I headed upstairs, I noticed a figure standing in the corner of my room. I frowned, instinctively wanting to back away. "Will," I started to say, then stopped myself. From now on, I would never call her name in a moment of crisis again. "Chloe?" I took a deep breath, trying a different name, wondering if she would appear before me. To my surprise, the figure moved and grunted. "Yeah, I'm here." My heart raced as I flipped on the light switch. Chloe was sitting by the window, her cool eyes shimmering like stars in the darkness. I walked over to her and saw that her clothes were soaked through, her white shirt clinging to her nearly perfect figure. I had never realized before just how incredible her body was. "It's late and pouring rain. What are you doing here?" "I told you to stay home and rest." "Nothing. I wanted to check on your wound." She grabbed my arm without asking and examined the cut. Her brow furrowed. "I hope that's the last time I have to protect you. After you marry Willow, I don't think I'll be coming back." "You're leaving?" I asked, a sense of panic rising in me. "Where will you go?" "I don't know. But don't worry, I'll definitely stay for your wedding," Chloe said, releasing my arm and playfully tapping my nose. "After all, Ethan, we're rivals. I wouldn't miss watching you walk into a train wreck for the world." I smiled. "Whatever you say, Chloe. Just make sure you're there on my wedding day." As Chloe turned to leave, she glanced at the herbal medicine on my desk. My health had always been fragile, so we had both a conventional doctor and an herbalist. The doctor treated my injuries, while the herbalist worked on my overall constitution. I always hated drinking the bitter medicine and would often stall or secretly pour it out. "Remember to drink your medicine," she said, tossing me a piece of candy before closing the door behind her. I looked down at the hard candy in my palm and smiled. She always managed to show up with something sweet right when I needed to take that awful medicine. How had I been so blind to her kindness in my past life? On the wedding day, Sean and I left the Carter estate at the same time. We were both in tuxedos, but mine was a bespoke, handcrafted masterpiece. His was expensive, but standing next to me, he was completely overshadowed. We left the house one after the other. "Ethan, I'll never forgive you for this," Sean muttered, glaring at my back. I didn't even turn around. "Don't be so sure. You might end up thanking me later." As we walked out the main gates, Sean's eyes were red-rimmed. Willow stood rigidly beside me. Seeing Sean's tear-filled eyes, she clenched her fists and pleaded with me one last time. "Ethan, I'm begging you, pick someone else." She was standing beside me in the wedding gown I'd given her, looking breathtakingly beautiful, yet her thoughts were clearly on another man. I didn't answer, but instead pinned the bride's corsage to her dress. "Willow, you don't have a choice in the matter. Tell Sean to save his tears. He might find he started crying too soon." Seeing my action, Willow bit her lip. "Who are you forcing him to marry? Do you only feel happy when you're crushing someone else's spirit? Today is my wedding day. I'm not going to argue with you. Get in the car," I said, pulling her into the limousine with me. Neither of us spoke a word the entire ride. When the car finally stopped, I immediately spotted Olivia and Sienna in their beautiful bridesmaid dresses. When they saw us, they gushed, "Wow, Ethan, you look so handsome today." "He really does. Too bad I'm not the bride." "Willow, you better take good care of him after you're married." I smiled at the two beautiful women. "You don't have to call me that anymore. Just call me Ethan. And after today, you're no longer my bodyguards. From now on, we're just friends." They both nodded. "Okay, Ethan, we wish you and Willow all the happiness." I scanned the area, but there was no sign of Chloe. "Ethan, I don't know who you're making me marry today, but I'm telling you, I only love Willow. If I'm getting married, it will only be to her." Sean yelled as he got out of his car, pressing a dagger to his own throat. The blade broke the skin, and a trickle of red blood stained the collar of his white tuxedo. The crowd gasped in panic. "He's his own brother. How could he let it get to this point?" someone murmured. "Two brothers fighting over one woman. The Carter heir has 3 other girls to choose from. Why couldn't he just pick one of them? Who knows? An adopted son is still just an adopted son. He's no match for the real heir." Suddenly, all eyes were on me, and I was the villain. Willow grabbed the blade with her bare hand, stopping Sean from pressing it deeper. "Sean, I promise you, I won't marry him. You will be my only groom today." Just as she finished speaking, a delivery van pulled up and workers began unloading large posters. "Sorry, Mr. Carter, we're a little late with the wedding displays." As they set up the posters in a line, someone in the crowd suddenly shouted, "Wait, look, it's all wrong. Ethan isn't marrying Willow, he's marrying Chloe Davis." "That's right, and Willow is marrying Sean Carter." What was all that drama about then? Everyone froze. Willow's hand, still bleeding, loosened its grip on Sean's arm. She looked up at the poster behind me. The groom's name was Ethan Carter, and the bride's name was, in bold letters, Chloe Davis. Her heart lurched. Willow stared at me in disbelief. "You're not marrying me today?" From a quiet corner, Chloe, dressed in a stunning gown, slowly emerged. She glanced at the poster, raised an eyebrow, and a small smile played on her lips. Are you serious, Ethan? I walked to her side, gazing at her gentle face. I signaled for an assistant to bring forward a custom-designed wedding gown, then dropped to one knee. I'm serious. Chloe, you are my only bride today. If you'll marry me, please wear this dress. Seeing the sincerity in my eyes, Chloe nodded without the slightest hesitation. I will. The entire venue fell into a dead silence, so quiet you could hear people breathing. Chloe looked at me, her elegant eyebrows arched slightly. You're not going to regret this? Never, I said, offering her my arm. The person I chose on my birthday was you. How could I possibly regret it? What did you say? Willow's eyes darted back and forth, her face turning pale. Ethan, do you have any idea what you're saying? Weren't you supposed to marry me? This alliance between our families is a serious matter, not a joke. Every important person in Beverly Hills is here. If you keep this up, there will be no coming back from it. I looked up, my gaze cold as I took in Willow, now clearly dressed as a bridesmaid. When did I ever say I was marrying you? She froze, racking her brain. It was true, I had never explicitly said she was the bride, but I had always loved her. How could I choose someone else? The corsage this morning, wasn't that because she was the bride? As she processed this, a flicker of uncertainty crossed her icy gaze. That's right, you are a bride, I said, pausing as my eyes moved past her to Sean, who stood there looking disheveled with blood on his tuxedo. Just not my bride. Willow, since you and my brother are so in love, I'm making it official. Today isn't just for me and Chloe, it's for you and Sean too. Father has already agreed to a double wedding. I hope you'll treat my brother well. Really? Sean's eyes filled with tears as he grabbed Willow's hand. Ethan, are you really letting us be together? My firm confirmation made the color drain from Willow's face. Fine, Ethan. Remember the choice you made today. And don't you dare regret it, she said through clenched teeth. Regret? Chloe said, having walked over to wrap her arm around me. She smiled, radiant and confident. In terms of family status, the DeVises are no less than the Reeds. In terms of looks and ability, I'd say I have the edge. What makes you think for a second he'll regret choosing me? Willow was speechless. It was true. Her only leverage had ever been my affection for her, and now, I had chosen someone else. I smiled at Chloe's confident display. My bride, go get changed. The ceremony is about to start. Willow started to follow me, but Sean grabbed her arm. Willow, where are you going? Don't you want to marry me? Seeing his heartbroken expression, Willow stopped. She had always pitted Sean for having nothing, which was why she'd always been so resistant to me, the privileged heir. I'll marry you, she said, taking a deep breath, as if convincing herself as much as anyone else. Since he won't regret his choice, I won't regret mine either. The two weddings were held in adjacent ballrooms. As the official Carter heir, the decor and scale of my reception were dozens of times more extravagant than Sean's. The officiants' voices rang out almost simultaneously. Chloe Davis, do you take Ethan Carter to be your lawfully wedded husband? Willow Reed, do you take Sean Carter to be your lawfully wedded husband? Chloe answered immediately, I do, but Willow remained silent. Her gaze traveled across the crowd, landing on me, standing on the stage in my tuxedo. The man whose world once revolved around her was now marrying someone else, and her mind was in chaos. Ethan Carter, do you take Chloe Davis to be your wife, for better or for worse, for the rest of your life? I do. My swift, decisive answer crushed the last shred of hope in Willow's heart. She had thought I was just throwing a tantrum, that I would back down at the last minute. But I didn't. Willow, Sean prompted anxiously from her side. Willow slowly pulled her gaze away from me and uttered two words, quiet but clear, I do. With the ceremonies complete, the receptions began. When Sean and Willow prepared to greet their guests, they discovered that most of them had already flocked to the ballroom next door. They're both Carter weddings, but the difference in scale is enormous. I heard they're serving all top-shelf liquor over there. That Willow Reed, turning down the heir for an adopted son. I wonder how long it'll take before she regrets that decision. Amid the chatter, guest after guest went to offer toasts to Chloe and me, and in no time, Sean and Willow's ballroom was nearly empty. Their faces were grim. Mom, that's enough, Willow said, cutting off her mother's complaints. I'm married to Sean, and Ethan is married to someone else. It's done. I don't regret it. My only fear is that he'll regret it and come crawling back to me. She glanced over at the man surrounded by a crowd of well-wishers. He was laughing, truly happy, and he hadn't looked her way once. She couldn't remember the last time she'd seen him smile so brightly. Willow, let's go give my brother a toast, Sean suggested. If he hadn't made this happen, none of this would be possible. Willow nodded. She wanted to go over and see just how long my no regrets act would last. By then, my father was slightly tipsy. He held Chloe's hand and said, "Chloe, my dear, I'm entrusting my son to you. You have to take good care of him." "Don't worry, Dad," Chloe said with a slight smile. She then turned and whispered in my ear, "I only bullied you as a kid because I couldn't stand your favoritism. Out of all four of us, you only ever had eyes for Willow. If you ever think about her again, I'll do more than just get jealous." So all that bullying was because she was jealous. I found that fascinating, but just then, Sean and Willow approached with their glasses, and the smile vanished from my face. "What is it?" "Ethan, thank you for making this happen for us. We wanted to offer a toast," Sean said. Willow stood beside him silently, her eyes locked on Chloe's hand on my arm, her gaze as cold as ice. I took a sip of champagne, my face unreadable, and looked at her. "Technically, you should be calling me brother-in-law now." Chloe immediately jumped in, a playful smirk on her face. "And you should call me sister-in-law." "Never." Willow had always been proud. Bowing down to Chloe, the one she disdained the most, would be worse than death for her. "Is that so?" My voice grew colder. "You married my brother, which makes you a Carter now. For Sean's sake, our family was prepared to extend some business to the Reeds. But if you won't even acknowledge us as family, it means you don't recognize this marriage. In that case, all future Carter family business will go exclusively to the Davis, Miller, and Jones families. As for the Reeds," before I could finish, Mr. Reed rushed over and grabbed his daughter's arm. "Willow, this is no time for pride," he hissed. "Without the Carter family's business, the Reed Corporation won't survive." Willow's knuckles turned white as she gripped her glass. Under her father's frantic urging and the curious stares of the onlookers, she remained silent for a long moment before finally forcing the words through her teeth. "Brother-in-law, sister-in-law." "There we go, sister-in-law," Chloe replied, looking triumphant. I couldn't help but smile. I'd never realized how amusing she could be. After the wedding, Sean began moving his things out of the Carter estate and into the Reed's home. I stood by watching, while Willow stood in the doorway, her eyes fixed on me. "What is it?" she sneered. "Having regrets? Too bad. I'm already married to Sean." "Who said anything about regrets?" I replied calmly. "I have my own reasons for visiting the Reed residence." I had only taken a few steps when a pair of soft arms wrapped around my waist from behind. Chloe's voice, laced with a dangerous playfulness, sounded in my ear. "Ethan, didn't I tell you? I get jealous when you misbehave. The only place you should be going right now is home with me, not to the Reeds." Enveloped in her light, fresh scent, I turned and wrapped my arms around her waist, giving her a charming smile. "If you're that worried, why don't you come with me? Fine. I'll accompany you this one time." The four of us took 2 cars to the Reed estate. Willow had no idea that what was about to happen would make her regret everything. And no one noticed the large moving truck that followed my car. No one was there to greet us when we arrived. A maid called out, "Mr. Ethan Carter is here," and Mr. and Mrs. Reed exchanged a look before rushing out to the foyer. Willow's face was cold. "Ethan, just say it. Why are you here?" "I'm here on business, of course," I said, walking past her parents into the house. My eyes swept casually across the room, taking in all the gifts I had given Willow over the years. I had spent a fortune on Willow over the years. Most of the valuable items in her family's home were things I'd bought for her at auction. In my past life, she sold every single one of them and sent the money to Sean. This time, I wasn't going to let them profit from me. "Ethan, what are you doing here?" Sean asked, his face pale with anxiety. "You're married to Chloe now. You can't still be after Willow." Willow just sneered. "It's too late for regrets, Ethan. I'm telling you." If I recall correctly, I cut her off, my gaze fixed on a porcelain vase in the center of the room. "I gave you that vase." A flicker of amusement crossed Chloe's eyes. She was starting to understand why I had insisted on coming. "What do you mean by that?" Willow demanded, but before she could finish, I clapped my hands twice. "All right, men, take it away." On my command, several large men entered from outside and walked directly to the porcelain vase. The entire Reed family stared in stunned silence. And my eyes scanned the rest of the room, that painting, that set of sculptures, the living room sofa, the mahogany dining table, and all those expensive health supplements I bought for your mother. Take it all. Leave nothing behind. As the movers began to empty the house item by item, Mrs. Reed finally broke down. "Mr. Carter, what is the meaning of this?" My tone was even. "I'm simply taking back what belongs to me. I used to love Willow, so I gave her gifts to show my affection. Now that we are no longer connected, these items, purchased with Carter money, should be returned." "Ethan, you've gone too far." Willow's face was livid. Too far. I scoffed. You didn't love me, yet you accepted every single gift I gave you. Who's the one who went too far? Looking at the rapidly emptying mansion, even I was a bit shocked. I had given her so much over the years. I should have realized it sooner. Ethan Carter was born to enjoy my life, not to have my heart trampled on. Ethan, after this, don't you ever expect me to forgive you? Willow trembled with rage. Don't worry, I said, pulling Chloe into my arms. I won't be waiting for it. As the last item was carried out the door, I felt some of the bitterness from my past life finally begin to fade. Let's go, honey. Hearing me call her that made Chloe's cheeks flush. She looked up at me, surprised and pleased. What did you just call me? Honey, let's go home. Okay, let's go home. We left arm in arm, leaving the Reed family standing speechless in their empty living room. Mr. Reed was so furious he nearly fainted, his finger trembling as he pointed at Willow. Look at the mess you've made. My imported delicacies. Mrs. Reed wailed, collapsing onto the floor. Those were worth tens of thousands of dollars apiece. Sean tried to help her up, but she shoved him away. Don't touch me. You're bad luck. He awkwardly pulled out a credit card. Mom, don't be upset. I'll buy you more in the future. You'll buy them? Can you even afford it? Mrs. Reed shrieked. Mr. Carter spent that kind of money without blinking. What do you have to offer? You're just an adopted son. Sean's face went pale as he silently put the card away. In his downcast eyes, a flash of pure hatred appeared and vanished. Enough, Willow snapped, frowning. It's just stuff. We can buy more. I don't want anything of Ethan's anyway. Just as she said that, one of the Carter's staff members returned and handed her a photograph. Mr. Carter said, "You should see this." The photo showed a soaking wet little boy struggling through a downpour, carrying an unconscious little girl on his back towards the Carter estate. Though his back was small and his expression was pained, Willow recognized him instantly. It was me. No, that's impossible. When she was 10, she had fainted from low blood sugar during a training session. When she woke up, Sean had been the one sitting by her bed. She whirled around, shoving the photo in Sean's face, her eyes as sharp as daggers. I'm asking you one more time. When we were 10, were you the one who carried me back to the house? Seeing the photo, the color drained from Sean's face. Of course it was me, Willow. Don't you remember? He stammered. That photo has to be fake. Ethan is just trying to get revenge and break us up. Is that so? Willow's voice was devoid of any warmth. Of course. Ethan has been spoiled his whole life. Why would he carry you all that way in a storm? Sean said. Seeing that she seemed to believe him, he started to relax, but then she added slowly, I'll find out the truth about this. In our new home, the bathroom door slid open, and steam carrying the scent of cedar would fill the air. I leaned against the doorframe, water dripping from my hair, tracing a path down my collarbone and disappearing into the towel slung low on my hips. Chloe was sitting on the edge of the bed in a lace nightgown, looking anxious. It was our wedding night, and she was a bundle of nerves and excitement. When she looked up and saw me, she froze. His body is incredible. Had enough of a look? My low voice rumbled from above her. She snapped out of her trance, her face flushing crimson. I wasn't staring. I took a step closer, and she took one back, until her back was pressed against the cool wood of the door. I braced my hand against the door beside her head, trapping her between it and my body. My voice was husky. Honey, it's our wedding night. Shouldn't we be doing something about that? My warm breath ghosted across her ear, and Chloe felt as if she might spontaneously combust. Ethan, she began, about to say something like, if you still love Willow, we don't have to do this. But I cut her off. I wasted decades in my last life. Now that I had this chance, I wasn't going to let it slip away. I tilted her chin up, my gaze intense. Who said I still love her? Right now, you're the only one in my head and in my heart. Before the words had fully left my mouth, I kissed her soft lips. Outside, the night was deep, and inside, the passion was just beginning. At the Reed's house, it was also Sean and Willow's wedding night, but she hadn't come to their bedroom. Sean had called for her numerous times, but she just told him to go to sleep without her. I can't sleep alone. Willow, it's our wedding night. Aren't you going to spend it with me? He moved closer to her beautiful form, eventually resting his head against her back and whispering, Willow, honey. The word honey made Willow blush. She turned to look at the man beside her. He was handsome, gentle, and had a great body. Yet with this man right here, her mind was completely filled with thoughts of me. Willow thought she must be going insane. She had always loved Sean. She couldn't let one photograph from me make her treat him so coldly. She turned and let Sean sweep her into his arms. I'm sorry. It was wrong of me to leave you alone on our wedding night. Let's go to our room now. Sean had lit scented candles around the room. Willow took the lead, shedding her clothes and kissing him passionately. Seeing her initiative, Sean's body went rigid with desire, and he quickly took control. But through their lovemaking, my image kept flashing in Willow's mind. Tonight was also my wedding night with Chloe. Would I touch her? No, he wouldn't, she thought. He doesn't love Chloe. He only married her to spite me. He would never fall for her. With that thought, her passion intensified, and Sean was more than able to match her energy time and time again. Suddenly, Willow paused. This isn't your first time, is it? Sean's expression flickered. Of course it is. Why? Nothing. You just seem very experienced. Of course, Sean said, a proud look on his face. When you're with the person you love, how could you not be? Seeing him blush, Willow lowered her head and resumed. At the Carters, morning sunlight filtered through the sheer curtains, falling across my face. I'd had a nightmare, filled with scenes from my past life. I remembered wanting Willow, only for her to push me away time and again. The love letters were burned into my memory, every word written for Sean. Sean, even though I'm marrying Ethan, you're the only one in my heart. Don't worry. As long as you're happy, my own suffering doesn't matter. The memories of my past life became 1,000 sharp needles, piercing me over and over in my sleep. Enough! I shot up in bed, drenched in sweat, my heart hammering in my chest. Why did I have to relive that despair? I rubbed my throbbing temples, about to get out of bed, when a pair of arms wrapped around my waist from behind. What's wrong? Chloe's voice was husky with sleep. She rolled over, pinning me beneath her, but her expression was dark. You were just calling Willow's name. I looked at her somber face and finally shook off the last vestiges of the nightmare. That's right, I was reborn. I married Chloe. Chloe! I wrapped my arms around her waist, burying my face in her neck. My body, still trembling from the nightmare, slowly began to calm. Sensing my distress, Chloe's anger softened into concern. Tell me, she said, her voice gentle. Why did you say her name? I'm sorry, I said, my voice hoarse. I shook my head. I didn't say it out of love. I said it out of hate. I don't want you to love her, and I don't want you to hate her, she said, cupping my face in her hands and looking me straight in the eye. From now on, I'm the only one allowed in your heart and in your dreams. You silly girl, I said with a helpless laugh, pulling her into a tight embrace. Maybe I had been falling for her all along. Meanwhile, Willow was woken by a phone call. It was the private investigator she'd hired. Miss Reed, the photo you sent is authentic. There are no signs of manipulation. Additionally, we've uncovered that Sean Carter has led a very promiscuous private life for years. The evidence has been sent to your email. After hanging up, Willow opened the email. Staring at the sordid photographs, her mind went blank. No wonder he was so skilled last night. The man beside her was still sound asleep. She turned to look at his face and was overcome with disgust. Willow, you're awake? He murmured, rolling over and reaching for her out of habit. But Willow shoved him with all her might, sending him tumbling to the floor. Sean hit the floor, instantly awake. Willow, what are you doing? I'm going to ask you one last time. Were you the one who carried me that day? Willow's expression was thunderous. Knowing he couldn't hide it any longer, Sean gave up. No, he admitted, scrambling up from the floor. It was Ethan. He carried you back, then went to get the doctor and asked me to stay with you. When you woke up, you saw me and I was too scared to tell you the truth. And what about these? She screamed, throwing her phone at him. You love me so much that you sleep with all these other women? That was all in the past. Sean pleaded. I only have you in my heart now. Willow, please, forgive me. I'll never lie to you again. Ha! Willow let out a wretched laugh. She had mistaken her savior and loved the wrong man. And the worst part was, it was too late to change anything. 3 days later was the traditional post-wedding visit to the groom's family. Willow didn't want to go, but the thought of seeing me made her agree. As soon as they walked through the doors of the Carter estate, they overheard several maids whispering. Did you hear? The young master and his new wife are in their honeymoon phase. They haven't come downstairs in 3 days. But I heard they had a huge fight the day after the wedding. Apparently, he cried out Miss Reed's name in his sleep. Is that true? I guess he's still madly in love with Miss Reed. He probably only married the new mistress to make her jealous. Every word reached Willow's ears. She grabbed one of the maids, her eyes wide with a strange excitement. Is that true? Did he really say my name? Miss Reed. The maids went pale with fright and waved their hands frantically. We didn't say anything. You must have misheard. Sean's face was a mask of fury. Just then, Chloe and I came down the stairs, arm in arm, laughing and talking. We walked right past them without a single glance. Ethan, Willow could no longer contain herself and rushed forward, grabbing my hand. Let go of him, Chloe said, her eyes turning to ice. Willow ignored her, her eyes pleading with me. Ethan, can we please talk? Just give me 10 minutes. I'm begging you. Willow, I said, pulling my hand free, my tone distant. What is there for us to talk about? The formal address felt like a knife twisting in her heart. I put my arm around Chloe's waist. I'm sorry, I said coolly. My wife and I just woke up, and we're about to have breakfast. My father is waiting for you in the living room. With that, I turned and led Chloe away. Willow stared at my retreating back, unable to believe I could be so cold. Hadn't the maids just said I still loved her? She had no choice but to go see my father, completely missing the sight of Sean beside her, his fists clenched and his eyes burning with a mad jealousy. My father was making polite conversation with them when Willow suddenly blurted out, "Dad, I want to divorce Sean." Ahem. My father choked on his tea. Sean looked as if he'd been struck by lightning. Willow, do you have any idea what you're saying? Indeed, Willow, my father said with a frown. You've only been married for 3 days. Marriage is not a game. Dad, I've thought this through, Willow said, her head bowed. The person I truly love is Ethan. I only married Sean because of a misunderstanding years ago. This is absolute nonsense. My father slammed his hand on the table. Back then, Ethan would have married no one but you, and you were the one who made a scene to marry Sean. Now you say you love Ethan? What do you take the Carter family for? It was my mistake, Willow said, dropping to her knees, a desperate, all-or-nothing glint in her eyes. But I know Ethan still has feelings for me. He only married Chloe to make me angry. Please, Dad, give us your blessing. Willow, how could you do this to me? Sean cried, his eyes red and his voice trembling. Where do you get the nerve to claim we're in love? A cold voice cut through the room. I appeared in the doorway, grabbed a vase from a nearby table, and smashed it on the floor in front of her. The vase shattered, sending shards flying, but Willow remained kneeling, perfectly still. My chest tightened with rage. In my last life, she threw me away like trash. Did she think she could erase all that pain with a few simple words in this one? It was too late for that. Willow, Chloe said, walking slowly into the room, a mocking smile on her lips. You keep provoking me. Do you really think I'm just going to stand here and take it? Willow ignored her, her eyes still fixed on my father. Dad, you heard the maids. Ethan cried out my name on his wedding night. That proves I'm the one he truly loves. Can you really bear to watch him spend his life with someone he doesn't love? My father hesitated, turning to me with a look of confusion. Ethan, tell me the truth. Which one of these two do you love? Dad, I love Chloe. I don't love anyone else, and I especially do not love Willow. Willow looked at me, her face contorted in pain. I know I was wrong. It was my mistake, thinking Sean was you all those years ago. Please, give me another chance. Divorce Chloe, and we can start over. Before the words were even out of her mouth, Chloe slapped her hard across the face. Willow, I told you to stop trying me. Willow didn't retaliate. Instead, she pleaded, Chloe, hit me. Hit me as much as you want. Just give Ethan back to me. Enough, Sean roared, clutching his head and falling to his knees in despair. Willow, shut up. You're my wife. You're the one who said you'd marry me. Seeing him break down, Willow's expression hardened. That was all a lie. If you hadn't deceived me, I never would have married you in the first place. I deceived you? Sean scrambled to his feet, his eyes swimming with tears. Willow, you said it yourself. You said Ethan was arrogant and spoiled, that you couldn't stand people like him. You said you would never love him, and now you're blaming me. That was only because I thought he was you. If I had known the truth from the start, I never would have been with you. I called Ethan spoiled because I didn't know him, but you were the one lying to me all along. I should have seen what kind of person you were. I never would have fallen for you. And it's not like you understand him any better now, Sean sneered. You know my personality. Once I've made up my mind, I see it through to the end, no matter what. I've married Chloe now, and I will never look back at you. It's too late for your regrets. Hearing him say that, I raised an eyebrow. I had to admit, Sean actually knew me pretty well. Whether Ethan wants to be with me or not, I am divorcing you, Willow said, her tone final. She knew she had to divorce Sean before she could pursue me openly. She was still convinced that I loved her and that, eventually, she could win me back. Willow, you're unbelievable. Sean hadn't expected her to be so ruthless. He turned his glare on me, his eyes filled with resentment. And I hate you, Ethan. Why? Because you're the real Carter heir and I'm just the adopted son? Because you've been showered with love your whole life while I've had to live like a bug in the corner? Now my own wife is leaving me for you. Are you satisfied now? Are you happy?" With that, he shoved past everyone and stormed out of the house. Willow stood frozen in place. My father stomped his foot in frustration. "Well, what are you waiting for? Go after him. Do you want something terrible to happen?" I watched Sean grow up. "If anything happens to him, the Carter family will not forgive you." With that threat hanging in the air, Willow had no choice but to run out after him. The living room was finally quiet again. I frowned, a faint sadness clouding my eyes. Chloe sensed my mood and gently took my hand. "What are you thinking? Don't let what Sean said get to you." "Why would I?" I said, my tone flat. "He thinks his life is so tragic, but he has no idea what it's like for the kids still in the orphanage. In this house, he never had to worry about a thing, and he got a 6-figure allowance every month. Most families don't make that in a year. He feels wronged because he compares himself to me. But on what grounds? I'm my father's biological son. Everything I have was my birthright. He's the one who refuses to accept his place and lacks any sense of gratitude." Chloe hadn't expected me to say that. The corners of her eyes crinkled in a smile. "You're right. My husband sees things very clearly." I smiled but didn't say more. How could I not see clearly? I'd already lived one life. I was determined to live this one right. With the family visit ruined, my father sighed and turned to Chloe. "By the way, Chloe, I'm afraid I have to ask you to take a business trip tomorrow. The Carter Northridge branch is having its grand opening, and we need a family member there to represent us. I'd like you to go." "Dad, we just got married and you're already sending my wife on a business trip?" I whined playfully. My father poked my forehead affectionately. "You rascal, I'm doing this for your own good. If you two keep at it like this, your body is going to give out." I instantly understood his meaning, and my face flushed. It was true we had been a bit unrestrained the last few days. But after a lifetime of forced celibacy in my past life, now that I was finally with the woman I loved, I couldn't help but indulge. Seeing me blush, Chloe touched the tip of her nose and smiled. "Of course, Dad. I'll pack tonight and leave first thing in the morning." Meanwhile, as Sean ran from the estate, a car sped towards him. Lost in his grief, he froze in the middle of the road. Willow rushed forward just in time, yanking him to the curb as the car sped past, narrowly missing him. "Are you insane? You almost got hit by a car," Willow yelled, grabbing his shoulders, her voice frantic. "So what if I did? What's the difference between being alive and dead right now?" Sean shouted, shaking her off, his eyes filled with rage. "And I'm telling you, Willow, I am never, ever divorcing you. Even if you don't agree, I'll file the papers. After a legal separation, the divorce will be granted," Willow replied, her voice chillingly calm. To Sean, her calmness was pure cruelty. He suddenly started laughing, a wild, broken sound that soon turned to tears. "Willow, you are so heartless." "I owe you this," Willow said, pulling a check for $1 million from her purse. "Consider this compensation. I've already arranged a new place for you. You can move out today." She was casting him aside without a second thought. Sean stared at the check, a self-deprecating sneer on his face. She couldn't even stand to be around him a moment longer. She'd already arranged his new life. He wiped his tears, snatched the check, and said with a mocking tone, "Willow, you remember what you did to me today, and don't you dare regret it." With that, he turned and walked away. Willow looked down, her voice barely a whisper. "I'm sorry. I just can't spend my life with someone I don't love." After Chloe left for her business trip, I was wondering how to kill some time when Olivia Jones called. "Ethan Carter, are you free tonight? What's up? It's my birthday, and I'm having a party at the Summit Club. Think you can make it?" I could hear Sienna in the background, teasing, "Don't tell me you're not allowed to hang out with us now that you're a married man." I was always on good terms with those two. They were more immature than Willow or Chloe, but they were my best friends. In my past life, when the Carter family was in trouble, they were the ones who helped me time and again. "It's your birthday, Olivia, of course I'll be there. The Summit Club, right? I'll get ready and head over." The Summit Club was the go-to spot for the Beverly Hills elite, a massive complex with restaurants, bars, and entertainment. The lower floors were public, the upper floors were private suites, and the top floors were a luxury hotel. My car had just pulled up to the entrance when a valet rushed to open my door. "Mr. Carter, the ladies have been waiting for you." He led me to the largest suite on the 3rd floor. The moment the door opened, before I could even hand over my gift, confetti cannons exploded overhead. And amidst the cheers, I saw Willow, kneeling on the floor. She was wearing a white pantsuit and holding a massive bouquet of roses, her eyes burning with intensity as she looked at me. "Ethan, I love you." My mind went completely blank. I was here for Olivia's birthday party. What was this absurd spectacle? I scanned the room and immediately spotted Olivia and Sienna hiding in a corner. Olivia, Sienna. Care to explain? Olivia shuffled forward, her voice apologetic. It really is my birthday, and I really did want you to come. But Willow said she hasn't been able to see you at all, and she begged me to help her. I understood instantly. With Chloe out of town, Willow had been camping out at my house for the past 2 days, from morning till night, calling me nonstop. I'd had to block her number and wear earplugs just to get some peace. I never imagined she would use Olivia and Sienna to get to me. I tossed the limited edition model car I was holding into the nearest trash can. It was a model Olivia had been wanting for ages but could never find. Olivia, I brought that gift especially for you. But it seems you don't need it. Ethan, it wasn't my idea. Olivia's eyes welled up with tears. She's my friend. I couldn't just say no. She's your friend, but Chloe isn't? I said, struggling to control my anger. You wait until my wife is out of town to help Willow stage a public love confession to her husband. Do you think that's appropriate? With that, I turned to leave. Willow suddenly rushed forward and threw her arms around me, holding on for dear life. Ethan, don't go. Do you have any idea how miserable I've been? I miss you so much. Please don't leave. Just give me one more chance. I'll never hurt you again. Let go of me, Willow. I struggled, but her grip was like a vice. I could barely breathe. What are you two standing there for? Get her off me. I yelled at Sienna and Olivia. They both instinctively moved to pull Willow away. Sienna pleaded, Willow, calm down. Ethan's right. He's Chloe's husband now. We're all friends. If Chloe found out about this. Yeah, Willow, stop it, Olivia added. This was your choice, remember? You were the one who insisted on marrying Sean and giving up Ethan. That was because I made a mistake. Ethan, I know you still love me. If you just ask Chloe for a divorce, she'll understand. If you won't ask her, I will. Before she could finish, I slapped her across the face. The sharp crack of the slap silenced the entire room. Everyone froze. Willow slowly looked up at me, and what she saw in my eyes was pure, unadulterated hatred. Willow, get a grip, I said, my voice like ice. I'm only going to say this one more time. I don't like you, and I certainly don't love you. The person I love is my wife, Chloe, and she's the only one for me. If you keep this up, we can't even be friends. Olivia and Sienna exchanged a look. They had never seen me this furious before. Have I made myself clear? I don't believe you, Willow whispered, shaking her head, refusing to accept it. I took out a handkerchief, wiped the hand I'd slapped her with, and tossed it in the trash. Believe what you want. If you want to live in a fantasy, be my guest. But from this day forward, you and I are done. We have nothing to do with each other. With that, I walked out. Willow tore herself free from Sienna and Olivia's grasp and ran after me, shouting, Ethan, don't go. I didn't look back. I called the elevator and stepped inside. The doors slid shut just as she reached them. Seeing her blurred form through the glass, I felt sick to my stomach. The elevator doors opened on the ground floor, and I was immediately blocked by 2 drunk women. Well, hello there, handsome. All by yourself? Where are you off to? Why don't you come have a drink with us? Get out of my way. I snapped, my anger flaring. Don't be so cold, handsome. We're just looking for some fun. We're bored tonight, and we're looking for someone to take to bed. You're gorgeous. How about we find a room? Yeah, don't be a spoilsport. We're all lonely here. Spend the night with us. We'll pay you. I used to get harassed like this, but with my 4 protectors around, it rarely escalated. Now that they were no longer my bodyguards, I felt a sudden sense of helplessness. I said, get out of my way. I'm afraid you can't afford my price. How much? Name your price, one of them said, pulling out a checkbook. Then they heard my quiet reply. $1 billion. Are you fucking with me? The woman finally snapped, grabbing my arm and trying to drag me away. Let go. Don't touch me. I struggled, catching sight of a security guard out of the corner of my eye. I was about to yell for help when a figure shot out of nowhere and sent one of the women sprawling with a single punch. Who gave you permission to touch him? It was Willow. Seeing her standing protectively in front of me, her face a mask of rage, my heart skipped a beat. Who the hell is this bitch? Ruining our fun? The 2 women clearly underestimated Willow, and the 3 of them were soon brawling. Willow, being trained, had the upper hand at first, but she was still outnumbered. You bitch, you're dead, one of the women screamed, grabbing a bottle and smashing it over the back of Willow's head. The bottle shattered on impact and blood began to flow. Look out, I cried out. The searing pain seemed to unleash something in Willow. You asked for this? She snarled, her eyes turning cold and hard. In the next instant, she exploded, taking both women down and straddling one of them, raining down punch after punch. You dare touch him? Do you want to die? Seeing that things were about to turn deadly, the club manager finally rushed in with security. Miss Reed, please. We'll handle it from here. Willow finally got up, giving the woman on the ground one last vicious kick. The two attackers scrambled to their feet and fled. Miss Reed, your head is still bleeding. Let me get you to a hospital, the manager said. But before he could finish, Willow's eyes rolled back and she collapsed. Call an ambulance, I yelled, terrified. I sat on a bench in the hospital corridor, waiting anxiously. Then I heard a familiar voice call my name, Ethan. I looked up and rushed into her arms. Chloe, you're back. I heard you were in trouble, so I came back right away, Chloe said, holding me tight and looking me over. Are you hurt? It's Willow's blood, I said, glancing towards the emergency room doors. She's still in there. Chloe let out a breath of relief. As long as you're okay. I looked at her and hugged her again. Chloe, let's go on our honeymoon. Let's leave tomorrow. Okay, she said, stroking my hair. Whatever you want. Just then, the doctor came out. The patient is stable, but she suffered a severe blow to the head. She likely has a concussion and will need to be kept for observation. The Carter family will cover her medical expenses, I said, then took Chloe's hand to leave. Mr. Carter, the doctor called after me. Miss Reed has been calling for you since she woke up. Aren't you going to go in and see her? Chloe stopped and looked at me. If you want to go, I'll go with you. No, I refused without a second thought. In my past life, when I was in the hospital after a car accident, the doctor called Willow, and she just flatly said she was busy. I only found out later that she was with Sean at his annual physical, and the way she looked at him was with such gentle devotion. Fate gave me a second chance, and I was going to make her feel what it was like to be abandoned by the person you care about most. I've already notified Sean. He's the one she should be seeing right now. Let's go. We had just reached the elevators when we saw Sean rushing toward us. He shot me a venomous glare before running straight past us toward the hospital room. Ethan. As Sean entered the room, Willow was still calling my name in her delirium. The jealousy and rage in his heart nearly boiled over. Willow's eyes fluttered open. When she saw him, her expression instantly turned to ice. I don't want to see you. I want to see Ethan. Ha! Who do you think you are? Sean sneered. Ethan already left with Chloe. You could die right here, and he wouldn't give you a second glance. No, that's impossible. Willow struggled, ripping the four from the back of her hand as she stumbled out of the room. But the hallway was empty. I was long gone. The reality of the situation finally hit her, and she collapsed to the floor, completely overcome with grief. Sean's heart softened once more, and he moved to help her up. Willow, forget about Ethan. Let's just try to live our lives. I only love Ethan, Willow said, slowly lifting her head, her words sharp and clear. Sean, let's get a divorce. From this moment on, I never want to see you again. With that, she used the wall for support and walked away, one painful step at a time. Sean watched her go, all of his pain and resentment coalescing into a singular hatred for me. Ethan, you've ruined my life. I will never, ever let you get away with this. He pulled out his phone and dialed a number, his voice low and sinister. I need you to do something for me. Kidnap Ethan Carter. And kill him. Mr. Carter, the heir has bodyguards. He only has Chloe with him now. Sean cut in. As long as he disappears, everything the Carters own will be mine. You'll be well compensated. All right, we'll make our move tonight. He drinks a bowl of herbal tonic every night before bed. I'll bribe one of the maids to put a sleeping pill in it. Hanging up the phone, Sean's eyes were filled with a crazed light. Ethan, he thought you forced me to do this. That evening, a maid brought in my herbal tonic. I was playfully complaining to Chloe, trying to get out of drinking it. The maid mentioned a commotion outside, so Chloe got up to see what was happening. Left with no choice, I pinched my nose and drank the foul-tasting liquid down. The moment the door closed behind her, a powerful wave of dizziness washed over me. I shook my head once, and then everything went dark. When I came to, my hands and feet were bound, and a blindfold covered my eyes. Then I heard a familiar voice. Sean! I recognized it instantly. He ripped the blindfold from my face, and the sudden, harsh light made me squint. I looked around and realized we were in the ruins of the old orphanage, the one where Sean had lived. Ethan, you have no idea how much I hate you, he said, sitting on a nearby chair, his gaze filled with malice. My whole life, you've taken everything from me. Birthday cakes, presents, and now you're trying to take Willow, too. You owe me more than you can imagine. You're insane, I said, looking at his face, twisted with jealousy. It was pathetic. Every year, I put thought into your birthday gifts. I bought 2 of everything so we'd both have 1. Clothes, gadgets, anything you ever wanted, I gave to you. And all you can remember is 1 piece of cake. That was your charity. Sean screamed, his voice hysterical. It was all for show, to make the Carter family look good. In that house, nothing was ever truly mine, except for Willow. And now you've taken her from me, too. I hate you. I let out a cold laugh. Who stole who from whom? If you hadn't lied to her all those years ago, I would be the one married to her right now. So what? You're saying you actually love Willow? You really love her? Sean's expression shifted. He clapped his hands sharply. Well, I'm telling you, I won't give you a single chance to take her from me. Instantly, 4 or 5 men appeared and began dousing the floor with gasoline. They emptied 5 large cans, the pungent fumes filling the air. I had a very bad feeling about this. Sean, what are you doing? Can't you tell? Sean said, flicking a lighter open and holding the flame in front of my face. I'm going to burn this place to the ground, with you in it. Then I can finally forget my past and be the one and only Carter heir. No, Sean, calm down. Just as he was about to drop the lighter, a shout came from behind him. Willow and Chloe had arrived at the same time. Seeing the dancing flame in Sean's hand, Chloe's heart leaped into her throat. Sean, what are you doing? Let Ethan go. So you all came? Sean laughed maniacally. Good. Let's see if you're both willing to die for him. The words had barely left his mouth before he dropped the lighter. In an instant, the gasoline ignited, and I was surrounded by a wall of fire. The thick, acrid smoke choked me, and I began to cough violently, unable to draw a breath. Ethan, Willow started to run in, but a massive flare-up of flames made her freeze and stumble backward. But Chloe, right beside her, didn't hesitate for a second. She plunged straight into the fire. Ethan, don't be afraid. I'm coming. Chloe, no. Don't come in here. You'll die. Even if I die, I won't let you die alone. And with that, her figure vanished into the inferno. Willow stood frozen for a second, then she, too, ran into the flames. Sean burst out laughing, a wild, unhinged sound. He couldn't believe both of them were willing to die for me. Ha! Ethan, you're a lucky man. Fine. If you all want to die so badly, then you can all die together. Suddenly, the sound of sirens filled the air. One of the men shouted, Sean, we have to go. The cops are here. Sean panicked and turned to run, but he didn't get far before police officers tackled him to the ground. Sean Carter? You're under arrest on suspicion of kidnapping. Where is Ethan Carter? Where are you holding him? Ha! He's dead, Sean said, a strange calm settling over him as he was held on the ground. As long as he's dead, I don't care if I go to prison. Fire trucks coming through. Everybody back. The fire department arrived quickly and managed to extinguish the blaze. Sean looked at the smoldering ruins and smiled. A fire that big, Ethan was definitely dead. Just as he thought that, 2 figures emerged from the smoke. It was Chloe, carrying me out of the wreckage. We were both miraculously unharmed, but Willow was nowhere to be seen. At that moment, a true panic began to set in for Sean. Why? How were they not dead? And Willow? Where was Willow? Mr. Carter and Miss Davis are all right, but we found a body at the scene. We believe it's Miss Willow Reed. She suffered extensive burns and was deceased when we found her. The words struck Sean like a bolt of lightning, and his mind went completely blank. What? Sean shook his head, staring at the officer in disbelief. Impossible. She can't be dead. Willow can't be dead. I don't believe you. He struggled, trying to get to the ruins, but the officers held him fast. Sean Carter, calm down. You set this fire. You're not going anywhere. No, let me go. No, I'm not leaving. Willow, I don't want you to be dead. Why wasn't it Ethan who died? As Sean was forced into a police car, I lay weakly in Chloe's arms. Looking at the soot on her face, I managed to ask, Willow. Chloe's lips pressed into a thin, tight line, and for a long moment, she said nothing. My eyes began to burn. She's dead, isn't she? Chloe nodded grimly. Yes, when the firefighters found us and were getting us out, a burning beam fell from the ceiling. To protect us, Willow threw herself in front of it. She caught fire instantly. I tried to help her, but it was too late. No! A metallic taste filled my mouth, and I lost consciousness. When I woke up, my father and Chloe were both there. You're awake? The doctor said you'll be fine. Just some smoke inhalation, my father said, his eyes full of pain. I know what Sean did. He's been arrested. Ethan, you've been through so much. It's my fault. I never should have brought him into our home. I moved my eyes, struggling to speak. Willow, my father just shook his head. She didn't make it. Chloe squeezed my hand. Ethan, you just rest. I'll handle the arrangements for Willow. She was really gone. Felt like I had slept for an eternity. In my last life, I resented Willow for my entire existence. In this one, she died saving me. I couldn't begin to describe the feeling. Tears streamed down my face, and a sob caught in my throat, leaving me speechless. Seeing my state, Chloe pulled me into a gentle embrace. If you realize you still love her, she whispered. I can. I don't love her. I choked out. But why did she have to save me? Why did she have to make me live with this guilt for the rest of my life? On the day of Willow's funeral, I boarded a plane and left the country. I didn't attend. What had happened between us was something no one could ever truly understand. On the plane, I stared out at the clouds and thought I could see her face. I looked at it and whispered in my heart, Willow, if there is a next life, let's not meet again. Are you tired? Try to get some sleep, the woman beside me said, putting her arm around me. I leaned my head on Chloe's shoulder and fell into a deep sleep. I closed my eyes, wishing with all my might that this was all just a dream, and that when I woke up, I'd be 10 years old again, and everything could be new.